Good morning, good evening, hello, lovebirds, or, good afternoon. I don't know where you are, but we've got people from all over the world who watch YouTube. So, welcome back to the series. And we are just going to take a quick little pause because I need to check our sound. Oh, perfect. It's working well. We did our little sound check for this morning. Welcome back to your wedding series. You guys, we are planning your wedding from age 14. So this is 14-year-old you. Now, I know that most people plan their wedding when they get engaged, and they're normally typically not going to be 14 years old. But this is going to be amazing, amazing advice for anyone that is 14 years old that is watching this video, or anyone who's already was 14 years old and they want to give advice to someone who is a teenager and getting started, with the planning process early rather than waiting until you get proposed to. Now, the series is going to be a journey of walking us through what it's like to be age 14 all the way through until you get engaged. So we're going to be fast forwarding because this is going to be a 1-year series, 12 whole months to plan your wedding. And I'm saying that it's the right way, but we all know that there's lots of ways to plan a wedding. So, yeah, the age for everybody is going to be different because, everyone's on a different journey, a different path. I hope that you will enjoy the wedding series, though. But I know that some people out there are like, what is a wedding series? They have no idea. They've never planned a wedding before. And you are in the right place, lovebirds. I just want to tell you, you found the right place. This is such an amazing guide for you. Your wedding series is planning your wedding and telling your love story through all of those fabulous wedding events. Okay, so most of the wedding events are going to include these, but there could be some extras that you may throw in there that fit with you and your groom and your family. But these wedding events include the proposal, engagement party, engagement photo shoots. I say shoots because there's some people who do more than one. They're so excited about being engaged, obviously. The bridesmaid proposal, the groomsman proposal, because there are some grooms who decided, you know what, I want to do a proposal as well when I ask my grooms to be a part of my bridal party. Some people don't even have a bridal party. We'll talk about that as we go along. Another of the big events is wedding shopping. I like to call it gown shopping because I love ball gowns and that style a little bit better than just a dress. And so there's that. That's a major event in one's life, as well as the bachelorette party, bachelor party, or the hen do, depending on which country you actually live in. So it depends on where you live. What else? What else is there that's super fabulous wedding events? Oh, there is the wedding shower. There's the bridal shower, depending on which one. Some people have both, and they're both different. They're not exactly the same, even though people will tell you they are. And we will talk about that as we go along in the wedding series whenever we get there. We're going to be talking about each of these events, just so you know. And then we also have the welcome party for those that have friends and family who don't live in the same country or the same city or town as them. They may throw a welcome party to welcome those very, very close loved ones to the week of their wedding, right? And then we have the rehearsal dinner, the rehearsal, and then we have the get ready with me on the morning of the wedding. Oh my gosh, so much fun. And then obviously we have the wedding ceremony and the wedding reception on the wedding day. Like I said, there are more events that some people choose to do, and we will talk about those as well. But these are some of the most core events that are going to define your wedding series when you are getting to tell your love story. Now, as your content creator, you're like, well, why are you here? Why are you helping me plan my wedding? As your content creator, I provide affordable wedding videography for all the events that are in your wedding series. And this way, you and all of your guests get to remain hands-free. I know we live in a content creator life, like all of us are, and it's literally at our hands at this point. But I'm your paparazzi. I'm your personal paparazzi, and I will have the cell phone lens in my hands. So, lights, camera, action. Let's start the show. And here's a little bit of advice to help your story unfold. You guys, this is going to be so much fun. Okay, so I do have a few little notes here to get us started. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are talking about planning your wedding from the beginning. This is the beginning steps, going all the way back to age 14. Now, I'm not saying you're getting married at 14, right? We're saying this is how you start preparing and planning to be a husband, how you prepare to be a wife. And so, welcome back to your wedding series. And today's topic is going to be who pays for the house? Yes, we're talking about how can the groom prepare to be a man, a husband, and a leader of his household. Ladies, I hope you have your tea because I have mine. I am so excited for this. I have been waiting for this episode. I know it's just episode 3, but this is going to be a good episode. Okay, so sit back, relax, grab your groom to be, and let him watch this too, because these are going to be some great tips to help him. Now, if you're already past the age of 14, that's okay. You can still participate in these life skills that are going to help you along your journey. Okay. So even if you already got married and you're like, ooh, this is spicy. What should I have been doing prior to getting married? And how would this have helped me to prepare before marriage? Because that's what this series is all about, you guys. Oh my goodness. Let's just jump in. Let's look at the notes. Let's see what I've prepared for us. All right. So, the purpose of starting early is to become a strong, responsible man. And what woman doesn't want that, right? We want a strong, responsible man. I know that there's a lot of people in this day and age that are like, oh, I don't want him to be too, stronger than me. Don't listen to those women. That's not true. Every single woman wants a good, strong man. So just know that. Building these skills early can set the foundations for a thriving future family. Yes, it can. You guys, I know that most of us think like, okay, I don't really need this. Like, I learned how to be a man. I don't really need this episode. Like, what is your content creator really talking about here, right? You guys, I see this all the time. People think that they've really got it right. And it's important for all of us to have mentorship, to have people that can instill some good qualities in us. And what makes me an expert at this today is because I have been married for 6 years. I have heard a lot of things from my husband and from my brother. And these are things that I know that, like, had they had this at 14 years old, things will look different for them as they became an adult. So that's why I'm so excited that I get to talk about these with you today. Now, you don't have to take everything that I say, and you don't have to go out there and do everything that I'm saying. But I hope that you will understand that I am just trying to help you along your journey in planning your wedding. Most grooms don't think that there's anything for them to do for the wedding. That's majority of grooms. And that's really sad because there's a lot to do. This this topic is talking about who pays for the house. Who pays for the house? And preparing the groom to be a strong man, a husband, and the head of his household. Let's jump in. Part 1. Part 1. Building character and responsibility. Building character and responsibility. Taking responsibility for your actions. So a lot of times we'll do something and we don't want to take responsibility for it. We think like we are in the right, we did it right. And you will hear some groom out there say, like, just say you're sorry, just apologize, just realize that you were wrong. You will hear them actually say that. And that's really, really good advice because I'm not saying that you're always going to be wrong, okay? But it's important to take responsibility for your actions. So, like, if you did something and you know that you did it, then you need to take responsibility for it, okay? Next bullet point for part one is going to be accountability and integrity in daily choices. Oh my goodness, accountability. Yes, people, this is going for the men and the women. And just so you know, men, I hope that you watched part two because a lot of those also were speaking to both men and women. Not every single thing, but there were a lot of really, really great qualities and things that will help you well on your journey. And so, women, listen up. This is also for you, okay? Accountability for your daily choices. So, like, you know that when you're doing something wrong, you're doing something, out of your character and things like that, that you need to be taking responsibility for that. You need to have some form of accountability for that. Now, listen, if for men, if this means that you need an accountability partner, meaning that there's a good friend that you have, or especially someone who's further along in their walk, like maybe a mentor at your church, a fellow man at your church who is further along in his walk, and you can see that he's walking this thing out. You know what I mean? Like he's a married man, that he's living, the best that he can on the right path. It's okay to have a mentor, but just know that, you know, you got to watch out for who a mentor is because humans are not perfect. Okay. So, but if you want accountability partner that's in human flesh, choose someone that you at least, I would say, like admire and respect. Okay. So, don't be going out there getting an accountability partner that's doing worse than you or out there, wilding out. And no, that's not what we're that's not what we're about over here, okay? No. So we're preparing for the wedding. We're preparing for the wedding to be a strong man. All right. So the next point is going to be learning leadership skills. Start with small leadership roles in school, church, or even whenever you get a job. Okay. At 16 years old, most people are getting jobs. So, learning leadership skills young. Okay. So, you can start learning how to be a leader even at home. If you have other siblings, you can learn how to be a leader with them. Maybe your parents have like some chores that you want to be a part of, or that they want you to be a part of, I should say. Most people aren't excited to just go pick up a slew of of chores. Our parents usually tell us like, okay, you're going to be doing this. So, guys, it's true. So, yeah, just make sure that you are starting young with leadership. So maybe in your church, that could be like they need someone to be a leader of this specific ministry. And so you want to start getting mentorship on how to be a leader in order to lead that ministry, right? Or maybe there's like a part of the church that has like outreach or activities that they do, and so they need some leaders for that. Maybe it's just literally they have a coffee station, at the before church starts, and they're like, we need someone to lead this, to be the leader of this. Okay, you're going to learn about finances as well if you were to go and do that. So that's really great and something to be thinking about even starting at 14 years old. Maybe the chores includes like mowing the lawn, helping dad with the car. And we're going to talk more about that as well as we go along here in our suggestions for being more of a leader. Time management is our next point. Time management. Oh my gosh, create a schedule to balance school, church, and personal growth. Yes, you guys, you need to sit down and create a schedule. I noticed that most people, it doesn't matter if it's men or women, they don't want to create a schedule. They don't want to sit down and figure out, like, okay, what do I need to do for my personal growth? What do I need to do um, for my hobbies and my chores and things like that? Like a schedule for your chores. That's important. Like we talked about leadership. Well, if you're going to be a part of leadership, you need to know when you're doing all of these things, right? So that's important. I'm looking at the chat to make sure. Okay. So, yeah, so you need to make sure that when you are focused on taking these leadership roles that you start to create a schedule for you. And even balancing everything, like school's going to be in there and everything else that you have. Moving on to part 2, developing practical skills. Developing practical skills. Now, this is going to look different for everybody because not everybody is going to be able to have the same strength as another man in practical skills, but these are just a few, okay? Basic financial literacy, learning budgeting, saving, and understanding credit. Oh my goodness. Yes, understanding credit. Guys, it's important not to get yourself in debt. Just don't do it. Don't get yourself in debt. It's not worth it. Okay. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Just leave it there. That's the best, literally for me, like that's the best advice that I always give. Okay. Is if you can't afford it, don't get yourself into a bunch of debt. It's not worth it. Also, when we talk about budgeting and saving, so when it comes to budgeting, it's learning how much money is coming in, right, into your account. At 14, you can already start learning this. So your parents are giving you an allowance. You can learn how to start to budget that money. How much do you want to spend on whatever, okay? When you become an adult, it's the same thing. You get a job, you're going to get some money, and then you're going to have to figure out how much do you want to spend on, your mortgage or rent, your utilities and bills and things like that. You've got your cell phone, you've got your car. So you have to learn how to start budgeting, okay? And then you need to figure out how much you want to save, how much you want to put aside. This is going to help you when you get into a marriage because now there's going to be all kinds of things. Your honey is going to be asking you to go on trips and all kinds of stuff and vacations. And you're going to be like, where are we getting vacation money from? Like because things are so expensive these days. You're not going to want to be doing all that, but that's why you're going to save so that you and your honeydew can do some fun stuff. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So, under the same thing when it comes to basic financial literacy is going to be practice managing an allowance or part-time job earnings. So that goes along with what we were just talking about. So, when you have your job, you're going to start learning how to balance all these things, as well as if you get an allowance each month from your parents, you're going to start managing all of that. Okay. And learning how to budget, learning how to save, learning how to spend, learning how much to spend, how much not to spend. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is good for both men and women. Like I said, this is good for both. But why is this so good for man? Because we already said who pays for the house. I'll wait. I will wait and let you guys just let that sink in. Who pays for the house? I know that is like probably an unpopular topic for most people. They don't want to think about who is paying for the house. But while we are preparing for marriage, men should be preparing for the house. Men should be preparing for paying for the home. We'll get there. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Home maintenance knowledge. So, home maintenance knowledge. Assist parents with repairs and upkeep around the house. So at 14 years old, as a man, you should already start this, okay? And all the way until you leave. So if you are still there at 22 years old, you're still helping out with these chores and with these maintenance things that go around the house and break, you know what I mean? You're going to help them to upkeep things. Your parents, they don't need to be doing everything by themselves and all the repairs by themselves. You're going to be learning at that point how to do that so that when you get your home, or if you have to live in an apartment, when you get your place to live, you are going to know how to do the repairs. You're going to know how to hang something. I know some men who can't even hang a pair of curtains. I know some men who can't even put furniture together. Like, that's ridiculous. That's literally ridiculous. You guys, they can't even put furniture together correctly. They can't even hang a pair of curtains. They don't know anything about anything when it comes to the house. Now, all they know is how to sit in front of a computer and play video games all day. And so that's not going to help you to be a strong man. That is a weak man. So you need to understand how to do these things and not get upset whenever your wife is like asking you to do some of this stuff, right? And not only that, you need to be proactive and just looking around the house and like doing it on your own. You need to be proactive. And if you don't have the kind of father, or you don't even have a father living with you that you can observe and watch and doing these things, go spend time with your grandpa. Go spend time with your you probably got two grandpas when you're 14 years old. You probably still have two grandpas. I don't know. Some people do, some people don't, right? Depends on our life. But go and spend time with them. Go and spend time with uncles. You know what I mean? If you have older cousins that are older than you that are already adults, go spend time with them. If you don't have any of those people in your life, then find some men at your church, okay? And go and spend time with them at their houses and look at how they're doing repairs. Look at how they're doing maintenance around their house and help, offer to help, so that when you do become a husband later on down the line, you will be a great helpmate too in these areas, and not just giving flowers and not just, bringing chocolates home, but that you are a helpmate in the fact of, taking care of maintenance and repairs around the house. So this is the stage you're going to be learning how to do that. Learn basic skills like plumbing, lawn care, painting, or car maintenance, as well as, like I said, putting furniture together and being able to understand instructions on how to put furniture together. Like I said, so there are some people who don't follow the instructions, they just do whatever, and then things come out wrong. Okay, so you're going to be putting together all kinds of stuff, kids' toys, the new playroom, the baby room, all kinds of stuff, just furniture around the house when you get a home together, when you start together, right? So, guys, listen, I know that this sounds like, well, I already know how to do that. I already do that. I already do that. That's what men are going to say. That's what they're going to say. But the truth is, most men don't know how to do any of the things that I've already said. And that's so sad. That breaks my heart, because we shouldn't be going into marriage and like men and women don't even have these basic skills that I've been talking about for life. It's not even just for marriage, but just for living life, like life skills, All right, guys. I be fussing at y'all. I don't mean to fuss at y'all, but I be fussing, huh? All right. Cooking and meal planning, understanding the basics of grocery shopping and prepping meals. Okay, so this is the same as what we had for the ladies, learning about cooking, learning about nutrition, just basic things that you know how to put together. You know how to boil water, you know how to boil eggs, just the most simplest things. You know how to make a salad, well, salad. I guess not everybody eats salad or knows how to make a salad, but that is a basic. That is a basic. So I think you should at least know how to make a salad, a smoothie, and things like that. Just some simple stuff, some oatmeal, like I said, boil water to make rice or pasta, just the simple things to be able to, you never know. Your honey may have to go out of town to help her family with something that you can't come because you've got other obligations back at home. And so if you're at home, then you need to know how to make some of these basic things, right? Your honey could get sick and now she's in the hospital, or you don't have an older child there that can just pick up the reins and start cooking. So it's important that you learn how to do these basic things like prepping meals. Oh, and going back to the basics, I did not harp on lawn care enough, guys, in painting. We did talk about car maintenance, or we talked about house maintenance, but car maintenance, knowing how to just change the oil, knowing how to do simple things like change a tire. Okay. Men, you need to know how to do that stuff. Okay. You need to know how to do that stuff. Plumbing, if something happens with the toilet and it's not working, you need to know how to unclog a toilet. Okay. Or unclog a sink. I know many women that are sitting there, breaking nails and stuff because they're the ones unclogging sinks. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have to do it. I'm not saying that like they shouldn't know how to do it. But I'm saying, men, you're sitting there like eating chips or watching the football game or playing video games, get up and go and unclog the toilet or unclog the sink. Don't sit there and let your honey be doing that stuff. She's a lady. Let her be a lady, okay? Like, get in there and do it. Yeah. I think that we just have a lot of for the majority, not all, but I'm saying we do have a lot of weak men that aren't doing these things, and that it's important to know how to do these things starting at 14 years old. Okay. So starting at 14 years old. Okay. Let's go on to part 3, growing emotional intelligence. Oh, growing emotional intelligence. Communication skills. Practice active listening and respectful discussions with family and parents and people at school. So, obviously, this one, we talked about in our last episode as well. But, guys, be respectful. Know that you have a lady that loves you and she wants to be talked to respectfully and with the correct language. It's important for us to not be using just disrespectful words. Don't be doing that. And so, and ladies, you treat your men the same, like we talked about before. It's important that we don't call each other out of our names. I actually knew a guy that said that that's how people argue. And I was like, no, I was not the girl for him. I was not the girl for him. And so if that's how you're going to argue, no, thank you. No, thank you. And that leads us to our next point, which is conflict resolutions. How to conflict calmly, peacefully. Now, not everybody resolves a conflict like myself. I don't like to yell. I don't like to scream. And I don't like to raise my voice. And when other people are doing that, I feel extremely uncomfortable. Not to the point of wanting to leave the conversation. I will still stay and like hear them out. I think people want to be seen and heard. And so I will stay there. I will hear them out, but I am at a distance because I don't want them to yell at me. I don't like when people raise their voices and stuff. And so I think that it's important that people learn how to resolve conflict without having to call each other out of their names or use disrespectful words to one another, or even yelling, at the top of their lungs or throwing things. No, that's not how you resolve a conflict. Hold on, guys. We're waiting for the stream to come back. Okay, there we go. Okay. The stream was stuck for a minute. Yeah, so you don't resolve a conflict by being rude, by being annoying, by, yelling, raising your voice, being disrespectful with your words and things like that. That's not how you resolve a conflict. So, all right. We are moving on to when we talk about active listening. I know that this could be a little bit confusing, especially if you're 14 years old and you're watching this. Active listener. So when you're listening actively, you're paying attention to what the person just said. What I've noticed is that people will have a conversation with you, right? They'll talk. But then when it's your turn to talk, they're not really hearing you. They're not really listening to what you said. And you know how I know that they're not really listening to what you said? They don't then say, "Oh, yeah," or something. They don't say anything. They just go on with whatever thought that they have next in their head. What is going on here? Why is this happening? I see this on news outlets. I see this in sports, um, the sports realm. I see this with everyday people talking. I see this amongst the people that I talk to. I am observing this all over, okay, everywhere. And I'm not sure where that breakdown came from, that people literally can't listen actively. They're having a hard time with one person speaks, you listen, and then you take the time to respond to what they said rather than going on with your next thought in your head. How? Why is this happening? Why am I the only one that's noticing this? Like, we are living in a culture where people need to like slow down. I think that things are at 14. Practice it. When you are having a conversation with friends, when teachers are talking to you, when your parents are talking to you, listen, right? Pay attention to what they're saying and then respond to what they are saying before you go on with your thought. Okay. Empathy and compassion. Build these traits by volunteering or helping younger siblings. So being empathetic. Guys, empathy is it's very close to my heart. It's very near and dear. I work as a empathy coach for businesses, and it's really, really cool. I get to do it at home, and it's only like once a month, but it's really a cool job. I often sometimes don't realize how much people aren't empathetic to others, and like just having a heart. Having a heart. Like, I don't know how so many people can be so heartless. So, men, remember to have a heart, remember to care. And so, if you have younger siblings, start practicing this at the young age of 14 years old, all the way through your teenage years until you get to be an adult, and still keep practicing it even as an adult. People are going through stuff, people are having issues in their life. And I know a lot of people are like, well, leave it to yourself. Like, I don't want to hear it. But we are human, and like, we want compassion. We want compassion. We want empathy for those things. And so I know that there's a lot of hard people out there who don't go through anything, okay? And good on you. I'm glad you never go anything where you need empathy or compassion, but a lot of people do. So try to start practicing those skills now. Try to start caring about others now. All right, part 4. Guys, we only have 5 parts. So here we are with part 4, understanding fatherhood. Oh my goodness. Role modeling. Oh, this is a hard one. This is a hard one. Role modeling. Observe and learn from your father or other father figures. That means grandparents, uncles, people in your church that are fathers, uncles, and grandfathers. Okay. So observe them now. At 14 years old, you can start paying attention. Role models is a very high standard of person who has some qualities that you are looking for for yourself to be a strong man. Okay. So you are looking for men that are strong in their everyday life choices. Okay. They are, like I said, they're walking this thing called life out. I like to say walking this thing out. And so they are not being passive about it. They're not just putting their head down and going to work every day and that's it. You've met these men. I know you've met them. And so that's not what they're doing. And so they are making better life choices for themselves. And so they can instill some of those amazing skills onto you. So you're going to start observing their walk in life. Okay. Now we are talking about, oh, let's see. This is really good. I want to encourage you of something. I want to encourage you to read what the Bible says about being a father. There's many life lessons in the Bible where people think that they have to go get books and instructions from other people. And like, that's not true. They don't have to do that. And so, I don't even know where our phone is. Oh, there it is. And so it's important that you start doing these things. You start reading the Bible to understand that. A place that I want to point you to for the take notes right now, because I'm just gonna read out the verses from the Bible, and then you can go and look them up in the King James. Okay, so here we go. 1 Corinthians 11:3. It's near and dear to my heart, so please go and write that one down. And here's a slew of more. John. This is going to be John 1:4, Isaiah 54:13, Proverbs 22:6, Ephesians 6:4. We have Proverbs 22:15, Colossians 2:21, 1 Timothy 5:8, Proverbs 19:18, 2 Timothy 3:16. And let's see, I'm going to go back over the first two I said, which was 1 Corinthians 11:3, and it's going to be 3 John 1:4. I think I made a mistake when I said that one at first. So that one is 3 John 1:4. All right. Mentoring and babysitting. So you can also do some mentoring and babysitting to help you with, when you spend time with like younger siblings, cousins, maybe people like in the community, like in your neighborhood and stuff like that. This is also going to help you to build that emotional intelligence about yourself. Okay. So that's going to help you to become a better, stronger father figure, right? And then you're going to be learning about childhood development. We talked about this with the ladies as well. And so you're going to be studying how children grow and what they need at different ages. So at different stages of their life, you're going to be observing, like, what do they need, and learning that so that when you become a father, you have those skills already in place. I also have here, read about what the Bible says about children. There is a lot of life lessons in there. And for this one, I want you to go and dive more on your own, but I will give you one verse, which is Proverbs 20:11, if you're writing it down. Moving on to part 5. Preparing for marriage. Oh my gosh. So everything was already preparing us for marriage, but this is going to be kind of like another little like overview about it. Understanding the role of husband. Research what it means to be a supportive partner. So do a little bit of research. Like I said, a lot of this comes down to observing our family members. And if you don't have those family members in place, the men in your life that are in your family that are strong, maybe you have men in your life that aren't walking this way, right? They aren't going to be a good support to you. They're living their life in a way that you don't want to go. And so maybe you don't have any men at all in your life. Maybe you don't have any uncles. You have no grandpas, no dads, nobody. And so you are going to be looking at the church. And so you're going to be looking for a mentorship in there to help you in this area of fatherhood. Let's see, what is our next point here? we're going to start practicing humility, patience, and teamwork at home. Oh my gosh, there's the teamwork again, just like we had for the ladies as well, the whole teamwork. I love that. So make sure that you are practicing humility and patience. It's important to understand that we are coming together to be one, right? So man and woman are coming together to be one. You're not going to have the same mind as your wife. You're just not. And you're not going to have the same mind as your children. So it's important to start practicing patience. I practice patience every day when I deal with people who are not the same personality type as me. And sometimes my patience, I will admit, like I probably am too patient, and there is such a thing as too patient to the point of them now like hurting me emotionally. And like, you don't want that. So you do want to have a line in the sand of like how much patience that you're willing to give. You don't want to be someone's punching bag. That's not the idea of patience, okay? Here. But you don't want to just give up on people too quickly as well. And then humility, walking in humility, understand that like, you don't want to have a prideful sense to yourself, right? You don't want to be super prideful to where people can't even talk to you. Your wife can't talk to you. Your children can't talk to you. Your coworkers can't really relate to you or talk to you. Have a sense of humility for yourself. And if you don't know what that word means, go look it up. All right. Our next step, start practicing responsibility. Oh, no, not start practicing. Sorry. Vision for family life. I mean, responsibility, yes, we talked about, but vision for family life. So start getting a vision. Start thinking about like what would you want your family to look like? No, it doesn't mean that this is what you're going to get. You might want 5 boys. That's what my mom wanted. My mom wanted 5 boys and she got me first. Come on. So you don't know what you're going to get or anything like that when it comes to the children. But start visioning for your life. Start visioning like, okay, it would be great if we could live here, if we could go there and visit these countries, or I would love for dinner to be at this time, or I really don't want to live without each single night we have a date night. That's something that me and my honey do. And when we were um engaged, when we first got engaged, I had told him that like I really want us to every single night to have date night. So every night for dinner, we eat together, we have date night. Like life can be crazy, right? And so you may end up with breakfast and lunch at different times. And obviously we have jobs and things like that during the day. But I said every night I would love to have dinner with you for a date night. And so it's very, very special. We do sometimes go and have dinner out. It's been one of our things, which is really nice whenever we can afford it. But we do cook at home together quite often, which is also amazing. And like that's what's important to learn those basic skills. Okay. But yeah, men, start visioning for your life, for your family life, especially. And when you're thinking about like that house and like I said, who pays for it, you want to start thinking about like, how do I budget for that now at 14 years old? How do I figure out how to budget for a house? Because things have changed. Things are not the way they used to be. It used to be you're going to get married, right? And while they're the ladies and everything are prepping for the wedding and all the events and everything that goes along with that, the men were building the house. The man and his dad, or him and his grandpa and uncles, were all building a house so that they could come and live in there once they came back from the honeymoon. And so now we don't do that. Now we don't have this whole like, all right, now this person is now instilling these skills into you, and now they're helping you to build your house. And so we don't have this flow anymore. It's just a whole mess, right? Of people getting married and they're like, well, who pays for this and who pays for that? And what do we do? And where are we going to live? And so nobody knows. And so that's why we're doing this series, is so that people understand how we can start prepping now at age 14, how parents are involved in our lives for that wedding now. It's not just all on the bride and the groom. And so that's what people think. And that's not the way it should be. Now, listen, I'm not telling you you have to do it this way. I'm just telling you, wouldn't it be nice if things were better, okay? If they were better and you didn't have like this concern of like